Hey everyone, and welcome to the results video of the Great White Shark contest. Now, as usual for the April contest, it's usually a bit of a silly prompt. And players had to build something using one of these Great White Shark trains, but they were actually rated on a splash boat ride that they had to build. Now, we got 8 entries for this contest. In this video I will show all of them. I'll start with the one that got the lowest score from the voters, and I'll finish by announcing who's the winner of this round. Now, in 8th place we have this entry from Banaan Fanat. Now, the score that this entry got was not helped by the fact that it basically hurts to look at this entry. It used an inverted palette, which is a very bold choice. The splash boat ride that is in this map is pretty cool. It travels underground all the way up to here. Over here's the station, then it travels up even more, and then here there's this huge drop which leads downwards, and has so much speed up here that it actually goes through this curve here pretty fast. Now, I actually quite like the landscaping. I'm not a really big fan of the colors. Now, of course, there's also this shark ride here, which you can find over here. Here it has this track, and it travels here through the landscape. Alright, here's the entry from Sex Butler, and I created this splash boat ride over here. It travels up the cliffs here, and then here it drops down this dangerous waterfall. This is a splash boat ride as Chris Sawyer intended it. The ride looks pretty silly, decoration pretty simple, but I enjoy a good ride like this. Now, there's this big bridge over here, and then here there's this dueling shark ride, or a shark race, where these guests race against each other while suspended behind these sharks. I think this is also a pretty cool ride. And here's also a pretty funny scene, or funny, a pretty gruesome scene, we should probably call it that. Here it looks like a shark has beached, and it doesn't look like it's fully intact anymore, and we can see some guests taking pictures here. Alright, the next entry is from Jan the Man 227, and he did a little speed run in this contest, and he created this little splash boat ride. Now, I actually quite like the support. The layout for this ride is pretty short, but it's a splash boat ride. I do like the interaction here with this bridge. There's also these sharks jumping over the track as these vehicles pass by. I think that's really cool. There's also this coaster which passes under and over the splash boat ride. It's one of these LSM launch coasters, and Jan the Man made good use of these new diagonal booster tracks. That also has some of the newer inversions, and I think it's a pretty nice looking ride. Overall, pretty simple entry, but I think Jan the Man did a really nice job. Alright, here's the entry from Darson. Darson made a beautiful entry. I love the layout of this land, or this island, with this town on top. Kind of looks like how people used to make their parks in Rollercoaster Tycoon 1. Now, it's also this really nice launched twister coaster here. And I really like how it travels around the land here and through this castle. This castle looks incredible, by the way. Foliage also done pretty nicely with all the tropical foliage. And this ship here also just looks beautiful. And I love this little harbor town. Now, you can also see the splash boat ride that travels through this part. But it sadly also has some issues. First of all, a minor issue. When you make a splash boat ride, you probably want the biggest splash of the ride to happen last. But this layout does it the other way around. So first we have the biggest splash and then a smaller splash. But I can still live with that. But there's another bigger issue for this ride, and that's that nobody actually seems to be able to find the splash boat ride. So there's nobody riding it. I think Darson probably could have spotted this mistake in his entry. Alright, then right above this entry we have the entry from Lurker. You can immediately see the shark here. This is right here, which just briefly travels forwards and backwards, and it provides some nice interaction with these splash boats. Yeah, that's just a really funny interaction. I quite like that. And I believe this is supposed to be an industrial entry with a soda factory. And there's quite some nice interaction with this ride. Well, first of all, there's of course the shark, but there's also some crocodiles swimming around here. And I also love this bridge which travels over the splash boats right here. And it uses these new go-kart track pieces really nicely. Yeah, I think this bridge looks awesome. I love how Lurker layered the bridge. Now, there's some nice buildings throughout the map. We also have this launch tower over here. And I also love all the industrial buildings that you can see throughout the entry. Yeah, it's just a really nice entry made by Lurker. Alright, the next entry in third place is from 30. 30 made this a really cool looking map. This looks like a harbor town somewhere in the north, probably Scandinavian. Also, the names look a bit Scandinavian. Well, not this one, but this one, for example, does. Mineløper. Yeah, here in the center we have this splash boats ride. There's actually some sections here where the boats travel through the water. I quite like how this looks. Also travels under the bridge here through some of these supports. Probably a little mistake. And then it travels inside the mountain here. And then here's this really cool walrus sculpture from which these boats emerge. I think this sculpture looks awesome. And then there's the big drop. And then here it returns back to the station. But yeah, I think the harbor here looks amazing. Also, I love these boats that you can find here. Also, all these nice buildings and the landscaping here also are really well done. You also see some peep scenes here and there. You can see some guests doing funny stuff. For example, over here we can see a few guests. They all have some funny names, so I definitely recommend you to check out this map for yourself. You can find a link to my website in the video description. There you can download all these maps for yourself and check them out. I cannot possibly show everything there is to see in these maps in this video. But yeah, I think it's a really cool entry. Also, I really like this mine train coaster that 30 put here. That's a pretty nice layout, and it is really nicely decorated. Yeah, wonderful entry from 30. Now, there are just 2 entries remaining. I will first show both of them, and after that I will reveal which one is the winner of this round. Alright, first off, here's the entry from P2. Now, we can immediately see the shark here in the fountain. Now, and yeah, when I zoom out, you can already see this beautiful map. I really like the style of these buildings, but also this tropical foliage here. Just done really nicely. I already immediately like the atmosphere in this map. Also see some tents here. Yeah, of course, there's also this splash boats ride. Oh, here's also a really nice swinging ship, also with the shark vehicles. That looks great. But yeah, here we have the splash boats ride. Travels next to all these waterfalls under some of these bridges. It travels up this steep incline here through this beautiful building. And then here's this, yeah, this really nicely framed drop down. I love how the drop has been decorated with these ruins here. That's just really cool. Now, the landscaping in this entry is just top notch. I love all these waterfalls here. They just look so great, especially with this watercolor here. I also love this zip line which passes over these waterfalls here. Yeah, it's just an amazing looking entry. The foliage is just done so nicely. You'll see this little chairlift going up. Yeah, and wherever you look in this entry, it's just decorated in a really nice way. Yeah, just an amazing entry from P2. Really nicely done. Alright, and here's the final entry of the bunch. This one's from Timmy Tuner. Now, this is also a wonderful map. Once again, great landscaping. Yeah, I love this little town over here with all these nice buildings. You also see some trickery here then with the tops of these raft vehicles. That makes for some nice banners in between these buildings. Just decorations. See lots of little peep scenes here on top of these buildings. Also this really nice diagonal disco coaster. I also like making these whenever I do an entry. This pirate ship here just looks incredible. Yeah, it definitely isn't easy to make a diagonal track texture look good, but yeah, this pirate ship is just something else. This is just wonderfully done. Now, of course, there's also this splash boat ride. And yeah, Timmy Tuner made quite a long layout for the ride. I believe the station is over here. And of course, it's a diagonal station because Timmy Tuner is Timmy Tuner. Yeah, and it just travels back and forth throughout these mountains here. Here in the back, we can even see a little cutout where you can look at part of the ride, which it does inside this cavern. Again, lots of little peep scenes here. Yeah, definitely recommend checking out yourself. It could be that you are actually in this entry. Yeah, there's also a beautiful lighthouse over here. Here on the top you can see these vehicles rotating around. Kind of looks like the lamp of the lighthouse. And there's even a little swing ride here on the top. Here we can see some guests dropping down. Yeah, this entry just has such a nice vibe. Looks nice and tropical as well. Lots of nice foliage. Even has this beautiful pirate flag here. I believe it's made with litter. That's also quite nicely done. Yeah, also a beautiful entry from Timmy Tuner. Alright, now it's time to reveal which one of these last two entries is the winner of this round. Is it this pirate town from Timmy Tuner? Or is it the map with the beautiful waterfalls from P2? And the winner of the Great White Shark contest is... Timmy Tuner! Now, both of these last two entries were amazing, but Timmy Tuner scored quite a bit higher. His entry was rated higher by the voters, and I think he's the deserved winner. But yeah, as I said, both of these last two entries were great. Now, we didn't have too many entries in this round, but the entries that we got, I really liked most of them. So yeah, I want to thank the people who joined this contest for making such beautiful creations. Alright, if you liked watching these entries, please like this video, it would really help out my channel. I would love to hear in the comments which one is your favorite. And if you want to see more of these videos, you can always subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed yet. Alright, hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you again in the next one. See you later.